Thank goodness this is all a dream. Right, Crimson?
Why is there electric sheep everywhere?
Welcome, everybody, to this episode of the Cheap Seat Critics podcast, where today we are covering the amazing digital Circus, which, for this pod, will be the most jaw-dropping, heart-stopping, mind-bending paraphernalia you've ever heard. With me today, we have...
Hello, everybody. I'm one of your hosts, a geeky writer.
And I'm Crimson. Maroon.
Thank you for giving your last name. And I'm Sprinks. Hey, you look up Cheap Seat Critics podcast on the interwebs, you might find us in places we don't even know. But the ones we do know are Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, LetterBox, visual sides on YouTube and Rumble. And that's to my knowledge. But today, covering the amazing digital Circus pilot. We're a little late to it. I don't know if the time we were covering Lackadaisy way back, this was out. But looking at the difference in numbers of those two, may have been smarter for us to start with this, but it's fine. Get into it now, and it'll, because of how we're recording things, it'll get to you later. Yeah. So don't worry.
Yeah. Listen, we don't do things necessarily for the algorithm. We get them when we get to them. I think the audience knows by now, if they've seen our podcast episodes, we're pretty methodical.
We cover old stuff. I mean, we used to. I mean, sometimes we cover newer things. But
why are we watching The Changeling again? I don't understand.
I asked the same question.
We're not going back and rewatching. So I have a couple of facts. We'll start with facts, and then we'll go into history. I only got a small amount of facts than normal here. So the initial release date of this was October 13th, 2023. It has a runtime of 25 minutes, 45 seconds. There is nothing I could find on budget or box office.
Kickstarter, probably.
Maybe. Supposedly, its rating is TV PG. That was taken from the interweb of where it was documented. Don't know if that's fully true. Again, these are facts found online. Take them with a grain of salt. Its genre is listed as sci-fi / black comedy / psychological drama. It is directed by Gooseworks. And two fun facts, I could only find two here, was within 3 hours of the pilot's release, it had already managed to hit 1 million views. And the pilot got over 100 million views within 1 month, making it the most viewed independent animated pilot on YouTube at the time.
Good for
You
them.
know what the previous title holder was?
No. Do you?
No, you just did the research. So.
No, I didn't get that far in the research. The research I was looking for didn't cover that. I guess I could have. That's on me. Anywho, that's all I have on facts. Sorry for so little, but oops.
Hey, they're not out there. They're not out there.
With that, we'll go to history. Let's just go down the line normally. We'll start with writer.
History, none. I think I've heard about it, though. This is not the first time I've seen something of it come across my dash. I'm sure I've seen Pomni before somewhere. I just have no idea where.
Okie doke. Crimson.
All right. Almost non-existent, but not quite. I've heard Sprinks talk about it fairly heavily here and there. Sinister has talked about it. I had never seen it before this, but when Sinister, Sprinks, and I went shopping at one point, there was a magazine, and on the back of it had a Roblox creation of character models from this, I guess, if I remember that correctly, Sprinks. It's like Roblox skins.
I think it was Roblox on the front cover of the magazine, and the back had 4 quarters of images, and one of the 4 quarters on the back was just an image of Pomni.
Oh, it wasn't.
She was not in Roblox style. No.
Oh. See, fuzzy memory, but that's it. That's my interaction with it, and I pointed out how the art style didn't look good, but maybe it's better in the show, and we'll see if I stand by that.
Gotcha. My history is this is my third or fourth time watching maybe fifth time watching the pilot. I got around to it. I think it was just because of my recommendation through Lackadaisy. There was a whole live stream of different creators, all compiled in one of Murder Drones, Lackadaisy.
All the independent creators out there.
Yeah, they were all combined into like a live stream situation, which kind of that was after my focus of this. This kind of just blew up and hit my dash, and I'm like, oh, I'll watch it for its size. And yeah, I'm glad we have the opportunity to cover it.
As am I.
So we're gonna do just popcorn. I think that's the most chaotic and fitting for something like this. So we'll just jump wherever we want, covering whatever we want, whenever we want it. And with that, we'll start with Crimson on the pilot.
Okay. Well, we are doing popcorn, so I will jump to the 24-minute mark. Flat. 24 flat. To point out an animation error, it's slight, it's present, and that's an improper shadow rendering on blanking on the name right now. Thank you.
The main character?
Yeah,
Pomni.
Pomni. Improper shadowing on the cheeks, where it's supposed to be casted by the hat, I guess. It was moving when it's not supposed to be moving. Well, there you go. Animation error. There you go.
Coming out.
Being able to pull it up, I see exactly what you're talking about. They're like rippling effects on the cheeks.
Yeah, and it lasts a few seconds, and but there you go.
How will this pilot ever recover?
Well, I mean, it's an animation, and that's pretty massive. Getting shadows wrong.
On the other side, it's an animation that plays in breaking and damaged looking animation tactics.
It's true.
Yeah, but that's not what they were going for with that.
No.
That was an error.
Yeah, it looks like a fan is reflecting on like a porcelain face.
Oh.
It's got a shimmer.
I'll be straight up honest. I think the intro song, I could not understand the saying, so I did not get the names from the opening song. I got them as we went along through the episode.
Nice rhyme there.
Yeah.
Didn't get him from the song, but got him all going along. That's
Yeah.
Nice.
It's the writer. It's in the name.
I think that's completely fine. They're not very common names.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I don't know if that was intentional on the audio part of the episode, or if it should be counted as a mistake. I kind of, again, I don't have strong feelings about it because I picked it up throughout the course of the episode, but I was a little bit put out because they drop us right into having a conversation with all of them, and they acted like we were supposed to know their names.
Yeah, I watched it with subtitles, so I knew it.
Okay. Yeah, I did not.
I didn't have the same experience, so I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, I went through watching this with subtitles.
Okay. Yeah, I did not. It was my first time watching. So I guess if watch it with subtitles, technically not an error. Then I'll be fine. Not counting that against it.
No, I totally fine watching it without, especially on a first time viewing. I think it's kind of to play to that feeling of, to me, it was interesting with Kane introducing before the theme song hit. It reminded me of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse in that show where Mickey comes over the hill and has like a whole talking with the audience before the theme song hits.
Mickey.
Yeah. It gave me that feel of like this is like a presentation of like a show.
Yeah, that's certainly what they're going for.
I agree. It felt like a.
But with the bookends at the beginning and the end, to me, it's a computer game.
Could be with the whole pixelated start, which I wish that's what the entire short was.
You wish it was all in 8-bit?
I like the pixel look. It really felt like an old game with it.
I guess this has come up now. What was your thoughts on the animation, Crimson?
I
overall?
think it is quite fluent. It's smooth. It's got a good frame rate with it. It is on. You can see some of the techniques they use with in terms of like rigging, uh, like pointing out Kane and his mouth. They do a lot of stretching of the models instead of it actually being rigged. So there are some animation shortcuts to convey some of these exaggerated movements. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a technique they utilize.
Part of their quirks, I
So
suppose.
yeah, so in large, I think it's pretty darn well animated, especially being independent.
I'll ask the same question to you, Springs.
I really liked it. The only thing, well, it wasn't a problem to me, but everyone has this glossy, uh, rubberized, like latex look to them of like reflection.
Mhm.
Like lights really bounce off pretty much every character. But I think that could just play into that's how characters um,
Look in
look
this
or
world.
work in this world. Yeah.
Yeah.
So being that it fit everyone, not a problem to me. It's just something that I did catch that's like, oh, every character does have this.
Yeah.
Even
I
Ragatha, who's the most, I think, I mean, they all have very good looking texture to them. And I think Ragatha is the most like, Raggedy Ann kind of looking doll, but even parts of her face still have that.
I think I guess I'll answer the question myself. It took me a while to get into it, but once I was into it, I was more okay with it. I spent the first 5 or so minutes like kind of feeling unsure about it, but eventually I think I just kind of settled in. So yeah, I also grew to like it.
Yeah, I tried to pay attention to the animation since it was an animation, and like I said, they did a lot of stretching of models instead of actual rigging for the exaggerated movements. They used a lot of shadow map and not shadow mapping, reflection mapping for a lot of the reflective surfaces in the back, and it's kind of they do it in GTA 5 and Overwatch. Those are ones I know quite apparent that are utilized. Where in like GTA 5, if you look at a reflection, it's of a early build of GTA, a lower rendered version, so it doesn't kill the game. So it's a low poly and all that. And they utilize this here, where they have a pre-made empty world where you can see like the checkerboard floor and some blocks in the reflections, but the characters aren't in the reflections because they just have a mapped out room to reflect instead of what's actually animated in the room. So that's just more towards the shortcuts that they utilize in the animation as well.
I am slightly blown away and amazed at how much knowledge you just shared from how many animated things we've covered so far.
I mean, I've talked about. I mean, we just covered Flash. I talked about VFX and stuff. So when I see them, I point them out. I don't see everything.
Okay. What do you say because of the way this one's animated, it's easier to spot?
It is. It's a lot more simplistic art style, and we haven't covered too many 3D animations in general, especially ones with like this glossy. The fact that this is so glossy and the latex look you talked about really does highlight the reflection and aspect of it. But when I see something, I try to point it out. Kung Fu Panda, I talked about the reused animations of the Furious Five and whatnot. So if I catch them, I point them out.
Okay. I like the beginning of everything of the audio distortion and pixelated 4:3 ratio of Glitch Productions before going inside this computer screen or device to give a perspective of the outside look.
Mm-hmm. Without actually seeing the monitor,
The edge of the monitor.
what would be on the monitor.
Yeah, I agree. Especially more that was more of a retrospect thing for me. Once I realized like kind of what's going on, I uh, I appreciated that opening more.
Yeah, I agree. I obviously didn't think that starting it because there's not enough information at that point to deduce that.
That's true.
I also like the
Unless
detail
Sprinks you did.
of what.
Deduced enough at the very beginning that it was a computer screen.
No, I don't think there was enough to know it's a computer.
Yeah, that's something you get with retrospect, I think, for
Yeah.
sure.
I think all I know is that it's digital. That's the big thing. But that could be a movie, a game, something like I didn't know. That's why I kind of get it at the bookend of the end, with the computer ending. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's a computer game-esque or very VR thing with how Pomni's trying to remove it off her head, which then just made it go to SAO for me.
Yeah, funny enough, I also thought of Sword Art Online Abridged. Well, I thought of Abridged specifically because,
You're more of a fan of Abridged, yes.
Yeah, SAO starts out good. And not to deny anybody who hates SAO, it's just kind of I don't like that it's the poster child of anime when it's like the lesser tier in anime.
Yeah, entry level.
Yeah.
But
good first episode of SAO. So go watch it.
I like that the world isn't perfect. I don't know if that's to show that this world is a test run of something like a beta or alpha version towards something, and not a final product of how things are made or glitch or spaz out around everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of theory crafting we can definitely do for what's going on.
Yeah. Well, I do like the detail of the sky being circle, like patterned of clouds.
Yeah, like with Kane, he could be a developer's avatar in this, where he's talking about building stuff while they're doing things. So this could just be the developer's avatar while making the game or whatever this ends up being.
Could be an AI source that's growing.
Yeah, could be AI source that's growing. It could be the AI monitor of that particular server or whatever.
I guess that brings up a good question. Do you think Kane's human?
And it really comes down to what is this world we're in?
Yeah.
I
don't know if
I'm just going off the remark that Jack said, like, they've all tried that. Like, they're all trapped here.
They're all born with human-like personalities at the very least. They don't remember their names, though, when they get in. So I assume they're carried in the game. Like, they didn't just get trapped here or whatever.
Yeah, there's a possibility that they're all just NPCs and not actual people.
Yeah.
That could be it as well.
Yeah, there's not. Unfortunately for me, I'm gonna use our Blade Runner coverage to kind of bring this up. When we were talking about whether Deckard's human or not, I think there was evidence going both ways. I don't know if there's enough evidence strongly in either direction right now with how early we are in this story with this pilot to kind of have that full discussion.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know the past of where anyone's entered. Yeah. Same with Deckard. Never see the past of like this great cop that he used to be or anything beforehand.
Yeah. I think Pomni can't remember her name, like her real name, but does she have memories of being something else? Because it kind of...
She remembers having a headset on and then getting stuck in here. So she has a memory of the outside.
Okay.
See, the headset's the thing I'm going with. Trying to remove a headset, and Jack's like, "Oh, we've all tried that."
Yeah, and but that's a problem I had in my notes.
Yeah,
they do that with an NPC. Like, is there a backstory of an NPC putting on a headset or something?
Is that
like, what if they're from other games? It's like Wreck-It Ralph style. That's how they get trapped in one area or something. Just all these ideas of what it could be.
Yeah. Is that a problem, do you think, Crimson, then? With the headset bit?
The headset bit establishes that they do have memories before entering this space. And the fact that they only forget their names is an odd thing. It would have to be a deliberate thing. Something I think they would have to cover going forward. Why are the names forgotten? Because they clearly remembered their lives before this.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
the only detail we know that they've forgotten.
Yeah,
Like
so
there could
that
be more just asked, but
they would need to explain that. It would have to be a deliberate thing because they establish they do have memories. And then the cure is that they're all just NPCs, and that's their backstory. Is that they were people who put on headsets and now they're in a game, but that's just through the eyes of an NPC. But we don't know what they are. So
Yeah, that's. It can turn into a big problem. I'm trying to think of if that qualifies as a problem within the this first episode pilot.
yeah,
I don't
I'm not
think that's
sure.
a problem. I think a lot of characters just keep to themselves.
No, I'm saying
They're
it
not,
can
like,
turn into a
overloading.
problem, Springs. I'm not saying it is one. I'm
if they
saying
don't
as going
address
forward. Yeah, they don't. If they going forward, that can turn into a big issue.
It can't. Okay, yeah. I thought you meant like all these other characters have the same thing Pomni's going through, but what if they know things that they're just not relaying? Like, to me, that's not a problem. But if they go forward making more and don't address that,
They don't have any
then
reason to
yeah.
keep anything from Pomni, though.
I don't know. Jax could have
Okay.
anything up his sleeve.
All right, Jax, we
But-
can cross out. What about everybody else?
Keener's insane. It's like you never know what he's going to say. He's a real.
wild card.
Why am I blanking? Walter from Fringe. Don't know. A Walter Bishop character.
Yeah, and we're anyways. This is besides the point. I'm saying that it can
Yeah.
turn into a big problem. I don't know if I could.
Yeah.
I was just asking if I would label it as one for the first episode. I don't think so. It's
In
more
isolation of the episode.
in isolation of the episode. I don't know if I could label it because it's just I have questions. I have a lot of questions around it. I can see it turning into a big problem, and I can see it not turning into a big problem. So I'm just going to leave that with lots of question marks right now.
Something to
Okay,
keep an eye
yeah.
on going forward.
I mean, that brings up, does Kane know?
Oh,
Or would
then
he
it just
know?
boils to
That's
what
what
is
it is,
Kane.
but- Yeah,
A lot of
I
it's
think that's
That's
just
what
a
it
great
boils
question.
down to.
What is Kane?
a lot of this is going to boil down as to what is happening and like what's real and what's not, kind of thing. Like, so what is Kane? No idea. I can guess and theorize.
I'm leaning on the
but
side that he's not human.
It's the safest assumption, but he still could technically be human.
Also, still not knowing of the remark Jax makes that Keener was supposedly the first person.
The
Like-
earliest they know of.
Yeah, how much truth that even holds.
And there could be a whole flurry of people before them
there
that
could
just
be
all went crazy.
there could be
So
a whole
it's just-
basement full of crazy little monsters.
Yeah.
Or
There's a whole, what's it called, the cellar or something? I forget what
Yeah,
Kane calls it, but
yeah, he
just
called
like
it the
all the
cellar.
abstract, all the abstract beings down there. And we see there's a lot of like these art mannequins around.
Yes.
They're all at the dinner, like the restaurant, and then there's doors down the hallway that just have their faces on them. Now, when I first watched it, or even for this, I thought those were like placeholder images on like rooms that just haven't been taken yet.
yeah, like if it's a quote unquote a developer making out a game. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw them as placeholder until we actually see them as
See them,
people.
like the one in the bathroom.
Yeah, that one has actions. So, I mean, they could still be
And then-
placeholders. They just, are using that right now to kind of like motion capture for the
Fillers,
model
yeah.
that they're going to put in there. Yeah.
Did either one of you two see the detail of one of the doors having like a queen character to like Keener X'd out?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, there were two X'd out doors. Yeah, that I did see that.
It's interesting that that's got to be, that probably means something different. Well, possibly means something different than what happened to Kaufmo. Unless it's an after effect to be crossed out.
What do you mean?
Like, it's not, the situation of the world didn't change the X out of the queen character. It's because when they went to Kaufmo's door, even though he's abstract inside, it's still normal looking on the outside, even though he's technically not around. Like, we don't go back to his door after he's put in the cellar.
Well, yeah, no one knew about it. So not even Kane. Kane didn't know about it. So if Kane's the one that updates the doors and puts X's on them, or if it's the other cast members, everyone was oblivious to the change. So
yeah,
I guess you can deduce the world of the game or whatever doesn't self-update. It has to be modified by these characters.
Yeah, I also don't know if it's a thought I had or have had that each character coming in is like, I don't know if they get to choose what their models look like, but Pomni entering is a jester, and she enters, I think, possibly around the time Kaufman was abstracted as a clown. So I don't know if she's here because of a replacement over him.
Could be.
It's possible.
I think we lack information.
Yeah, we don't know how long it's been when Kaufman was abstracted.
Okay.
I quite like the no swearing bit, and that is because I'm a fan of Scott Pilgrim. But it was a funny bit because I liked the fact that Pomni tried to swear a bunch of times different words, and none of them get through the filter, and she's just getting more and more driven crazy as she's realized the situation she's in. Because it's definitely like a fish out of water scenario for Pomni. This is her first experience of the digital world, I guess. Digital Circus, my bad, sorry.
Yeah. I guess that could help label it like, well, there's profanity filters over like anything, but I don't know if that helps limit that, like what this is like not for kids, but
it's definitely for the younger age range.
It would kind of solidify it as like an online game. That's where you have profanity filters.
Oh, is this what's going to replace Disney Infinity?
Disney Infinity.
But all right.
Like, I don't know if this is like a more game based or like world of like VR chat.
Could be.
Could be.
There's no profanity filters for single player games because there's no one to talk to. The characters are already pre-written with lines, so
yeah,
I don't know.
There's like I said, one of the running themes about how this scale is going to affect my objective scale is just all the theories that we could throw around.
which I think is a great thing for a beginning of a show. Not a lot of things are answered.
Yeah.
Unlike Flash.
This is coming from the Lost fanboy though.
That's true. That's very true.
You like your MacGuffin driven mysteries.
Doesn't have to be a MacGuffin, but I like mysteries. I like the cliffhanger questions. Sum it up to that.
I think, I guess it's piece of kind of just jumping around. I think more broadly speaking, I think the show itself the first episode does a good job of, I guess, attaching us to the character. It's mostly Pomni and Jax, I think, are the two main like poles for the first episode for entirely different reasons. And I think because it's such all the theory crafting and mystery developing that they're trying to do, I think they do an okay job of at least getting us attached to the characters for episodes going forward. It's more of an overall thing. There's a few that kind of get left at the wayside in the first episode. Crying Face, I don't know his name. Crybaby?
Gangle, I think, is the drama mask one.
Gangle?
Yeah.
Okay. And
Zubul, the one that
Zubul gets kind of whisked
fell
away.
apart. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think who's the king chess piece? Hua
Keener.
Kinger.
Kinger. I think they kind of get left to the wayside, but I think they do enough to gravitate us to the other characters. So we have some sort of foundation to work with here as far as characters are concerned. And if this is going to be a series, they have plenty of time to expand on those characters too. So
Indeed, they do. And I don't know, did either of you watch any of their other videos connected to this?
I
What
haven't.
do you mean?
I'm holding off until after the podcast.
Okay. I saw their announcement video of them making a full season out of it.
Oh yeah,
And,
I saw that too. That
Afterwards,
was
yes.
yeah. That isn't that like a yeah. I think that came right after this. I think that's the only one I saw.
Yeah, where they're talking about introducing a bunch of new characters and stuff. So, yeah, they definitely have lots to work with going forward. Sprinks is right. There's a lot of unanswered questions and mysteries to answer.
I mean,
So,
even
in
just
terms,
coming up with that announcement you just brought up, that it could really get down to the point of like what Ryder even brought up: what's real and what's not real. Like how much is being played off of like dead ends or like just provoking thoughts that lead nowhere to an audience to be played that way, and how much is truth that's actually going to go forward. The only
Yeah.
thing like going with the pilot itself is like that's actually grounded in what we have in a sense of how zany everything is.
Yeah, I think like retrospectively, the pilot episode will either get better or worse. That's usually what happens. Obviously, when you get further into a season, um, but there's just a lot of theory crafting to be done around this world that they have chosen to build.
indeed. Let's talk about the exit doors. Is
Digital
it
hallucinations.
yeah? Is that orchestrated? Did Kane set that up or not?
He says he
I'm
He
did.
leaning
plays it off
to
like
he
it
did.
wasn't, but I don't know.
I think he did with his end comment at the end.
He says he did at the end. I at this by the end though I don't know what to take at face value. The only the grounding mechanism is funny enough is Pomni, just because the way she's interacting with everything.
Yeah, I see it as you said, so many people wanted an exit leaving, which I'm guessing is every person who came in before just accepting their fate. So he's like, if everyone's asking for this, I'll try to make one, but he doesn't know how, or like he doesn't know exactly how to get out, but he's trying to make a way out or just to satisfy. So I think that whole maze of what Pomni runs through and everything is just what Kane made, but it's not finished or doesn't have an end. So it's close. The only thing it ends with is getting to the void. Like even if he worked on it more, it would still get to the void at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I agree he created it, but I'm talking about him orchestrating someone going through it, because he talked about how it's not complete and he doesn't like to show stuff that is incomplete. But the door teleports in front of her there. It's in the outskirts originally when he's giving her the tour. I'm like, okay, he's working on a project out away from everybody. That makes sense. That's fine. But then it just appears in front of her in the main area.
Well, it's also at the very beginning of the theme song. She gets introduced.
Yeah, I didn't remember if she fell from the sky or if she came from it, which is why I didn't bring it up. But yeah, it appears around her, and Kaufmo, I guess, because he went crazy with it. But how much of it's orchestrated, how much of it's just convenience, is what I'm trying to figure out with it.
That I don't know. It could all be just Kane making a new test. Like if everyone previously wants an exit and like a new character popped in, it's like, oh, let me test by seeing how the exit affects on them. But it also could just be just the world itself, just things popping in and out and just happening.
I was trying to remember.
Yeah, and that would make it a convenience thing. His reaction to a character being out in the void did seem like a surprise to him, though. It didn't be like, oh, it's according to my plan. it
His
seemed like a
wacky
surprise. So it makes me lean more towards convenience and less of him orchestrating.
He
the whole
might
exit
he
thing.
might be taking ownership of it in order to maintain the peace of the group, because it sounds like he's a bit of the peacekeeper as well, and trying to prevent them from all going insane.
Mm-hmm.
So that might play into why he decides to play it off as he's, it was his creation and his intention.
Oh, so you don't even think he built it? He's using that as a cover to keep them sane.
He
type
could.
deal?
It's definitely another theory to add on. I could see
It's
that.
true.
I could see that within his character, just trying to, because that's his whole thing. He gave them a task to do in order to keep them sane. Pretty much, that's kind of one of the major things we know about him. I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking of what the animation of this reminded me of. It reminded me of Superliminal, that puzzle game that came out maybe a
Yep.
year ago or a couple years ago now. It
Oh,
has
yeah. No,
very
that's
much in the
little-
vein of that.
No, the whole exit of Pomni running around.
Yeah,
Felt
that's
very
all I
Superliminal.
could. That's all I could think about was Superliminal when she was doing that.
When Pomni came across the old computer, it made my mind click to the Stanley Parable.
Yeah,
And what it made my mind go to was the Pixar short with the snow globe.
and what it
Knick-knack?
made my mind go
Knick-knack.
to was I went to Tron. I always go to Tron with being stuck in digital worlds
Oh,
and
Yeah.
other anime stuff. So
Yeah, the way the characters look reminded me heavily of Knick-Knack.
okay, I can see that.
With the glossy characters, the plastic look, the simplistic designs. They seem quite close.
It's interesting. I checked when Zubul strangles Jax. It's the only time we can actually see that his teeth come apart.
Mm,
oh,
What?
like when he's being choked, because he's always
Yeah,
talking with his
when
teeth
her-
closed.
Yeah, when her hand is off of her body,
Yeah.
Zubul, it chokes him out and his teeth are open.
Interesting. Well, I mean, makes sense. Easier to get air in when you're.
Well, yeah, but that just shows me that his teeth can come apart. And then it's not like I don't know. It kind of reminded me of like a whale, like the frills of the mouth of the teeth, and it's just like this long look of teeth.
Yeah.
Also, not knowing if Jax could even eat food. I mean, there's no need to eat food, as they say at the end. So
They do it just to pass the time.
to keep up a sanity, possibly, or
yeah, and more towards the simplistic animation is at the dinner table. All their plates are the same plate. They just rotated them to make it seem different. You'd think they'd all have different meals considering it's a feast, but no, they have the exact same amount of everything in the exact same spots on the plates. They just spun the plates to look different.
that's funny.
Oh, never mind. Question. I had a question. It's now gone. Oh well.
Poof.
The world may never know it.
Just like Kaufmo. Poof.
We're all curious about Kane, like what he is and everything. I think the same can be said for Bubble. Like, what is Bubble?
Yeah. Here's the thing. If Kane is not the AI moderator sort of thing, I think Bubble absolutely is. Like, it's your helpful companion in the game, that sort of thing.
A paperclip.
Yeah.
Because even Kane questions actions Bubble does.
Yeah. Like, Bubble's always helping him do the intros and tutorials, and when Kane gets annoyed with Bubble, Kane pops Bubble.
Pops Bubble,
Yeah.
but Bubble still comes back.
Yeah, that's why I think if anyone fills the AI monitor role / helper to the NPCs or in-game characters, I think it's Bubble. If it's an in-game experience.
Could be.
On the subject of Bubble, I thought the whole licking up Pomni's puke,
Vomit.
vomit,
Yeah.
puke, kind of funny. The way the way Kane reacts. Why are you like this?
Yeah, I just think I mean, very well could be the AI thing. It's just one of the things around that he can't control.
Could be. That's why Bubble's there all the time, and why Kane works with Bubble constantly.
Yeah. Or always being popped. He's not like, well, I guess there's no reason for any other character to be out of line for him to attack. But
I think the closest we get is the pushing of the pushing of the digital hallucinations.
yeah. I mean, hey, Kane could be evil.
Kane could be evil, for all we know.
I mean, they
That's
hint
definitely-
at it with some of the shots they do of him.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the theories you can walk away with. I definitely wrote that down as a Kane evil, maybe.
That also goes in with those shots you just said, Crimson. Are those made for audience perspective, or are those actually tailored in world of what Kane's actions can do? Like when he gets closer to Pomni and everything gets dark around, is he physically making it dark around to look that way?
That's open-ended. And there's not enough to say because it could fit in universe and it could also be for audience.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, how much power of theatrics does he have?
Adding that to our list of questions for the future, I suppose.
Well, presumably he has power over this realm. He opens up the floor to reveal the cellar. He's creating the exit, if we believe him. He created the gizmos or whatever they're called, gloinks. So
I guess that falls in. Did he make the Gloink Queen?
that's what I took out of it because he creates the games, as far as we're aware.
Okay, the distractions.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Talk about the funniest thing for me was when Kane was talking about why didn't anyone tell me about
okay,
Hoffmo, and Pomni just looking up in disgust, like how dare you even say that? That was the funniest part of the episode for me. It's quite amusing.
Yeah, it works. It's definitely at that point you're kind of on Pomni's side because she did spend a lot of time looking for him.
Yeah. What would be your guys' funniest part, or was the vomit funniest for you, Ryder?
No, it was not my funniest. I'm gonna be honest. I think it's just Pomni's general reaction to the world because she comes across as just like someone who's normal in an abnormal situation, and I tend to vibe with that humor a lot. So a lot of my favorite humor is funny enough. All the contextual stuff for Pomni.
I think the funniest bit for me was when Jax is saying he has the key to every room, and he goes, "How do you feel about centipedes?" It's an unrelated question. It doesn't have to be connected.
That's true. That's a good one as well, and I love Pomni's reaction to it. I guess a lot of my humor, favorite humor revolves around Pomni's just general existence and reaction to the world around her. Just the blank, confused stares that she gives to Kane.
I mean, it's interesting. She's trying to get more of an understanding of what the world is, but no one's fully just giving her an explanation. I mean, Kane's explanation is just like, this is what it looks like, but not how it functions. But then I guess that also works in a strength that everyone else doesn't fully know the potential of what it is. They're just as lost but accepting.
I mean, we get Ragatha talking to her a lot about the situation that she's now put in. revolving the sanity meter pretty much, and the interactions that the others have been through being here. Well, she does get filled in a bit, but yeah, it is limited based off the character's own knowledge.
Ragatha to me comes across as like one of the more kind and caring characters in their group, I guess, the cast.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's good that they all have different personality types.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not picking on that, but yes, yeah, it's good that they're all distinguishable. Jax is clearly very, very jaded and chiding and teasing constantly, and he's also willing to cause some trouble.
Zubal's very just doesn't give a flying bleep about anything.
We don't get much of Zubal, but I'm curious to see what they might do with her in future episodes.
Gangle's the sad one. Keener is
my comedy mask broke.
I mean, I like the dynamic of the character that way. Like they're all smiles with the theater mask, but it breaks and it's sad.
And then we get the reference mannequin, the drawing mannequin, with their own drama mask, which was an interesting thing. Did you see any parallels with that, Sprinks? Because they used it again.
No, that was just a scary thing.
But why did they choose a drama mask? They didn't have to do that.
Because of a circus. I don't know. Because of the performance usage and entertainment. It could also be what's in there of code in this digital world of what exists and what could be. So if there's masks, it's like you only have 3 things to choose from.
Right. Oh, I didn't have anything more than that. It just seemed like something that you would grasp onto, being that they reused the same kind of masks and they would have to be linked in some fashion. Because there's a lot of different kinds of masks out there. Why wasn't it like an Oni mask or something? A hockey mask? They chose a drama mask.
Yeah.
Which the whole character's visual is based on.
I just chalk that to the similarity of the world.
Okay.
If you see more in it, please go. But if you're just
it screams you. So that's why I'm a little surprised that you didn't get anything out of it.
No, I just got it's a lot of unknowing, but it could just be code of the world limited. It could be has to meet the vulgar language censor over is like things in this world work a certain way, so maybe things have to look a certain way as well. So it's like a mask can only look like a certain amount of things. Could also fall in.
Okay.
I like the little detail of Ragatha being beat up by the abstracted Kaufmo is in tune to like a beat of music.
Yeah, with like trauma music, I guess. Not really horror, but it is in tune with music.
And then, actually, writer, why don't you go ahead with it?
I was gonna say I quite like that Jax is the one to delegate tasks to people, even though he's obviously poking fun at Drama Mask and Kingpin. I'm not gonna remember his name. Kinger. I quite like that he delegates tasks, even though he's clearly fucking with some members of his party. It just kind of speaks to that and how nonchalant he is. Like it's same day, same shit, different day for him.
This is true.
Like that's how he's going about every situation, just walking around. I mean, Kaufmo, you can see is like an actual threat situation. That's why he poofs off. But the whole Queen, he's just kind of nonchalant and like things will work out.
Yep. He also, when they're afraid to dive into the hole, he just doesn't care. He just goes right in after them. Like he doesn't even think twice about his own safety or his care, or he just knows he's going to be fine.
Yeah, I think he's been along long enough to know what an actual danger in this world is.
Yeah. Well, isn't
Yeah.
did I get it wrong again? Kinger. It wasn't Kinger there the longest.
Yeah.
But
By
he,
what Jack says.
yeah. But Kinger doesn't dispute it.
No one does. I know it's interesting with Kinger because they built him up to be this crazy guy on the brink of going crazy, and he didn't seem all that crazy to me. But I guess that's more of a personal feeling thing. I did like the joke where he started spazzing out when they talked about those two being paired together. The pairing the two sane ones together, and he's just spazzing out.
Yeah.
That was amusing. But in general, he didn't seem all that crazy.
Okay. Well, then again, subjectively crazy in the eyes of Jax. Or whoever called him crazy. I like when Kaufmo is chasing after Pomni in the hallway, the camera fixates to Kaufmo jumping on the wall in a Dutch angle during the run.
Yes, I also quite like that as well. Good camera work in an animation.
Yes, which is hard for me to spot, but this one did 2 shots like that. So that's one of them. The other one I really like is when Pomni's running through an exit door, and it's a top-down look at her. She runs forward and becomes upside down in the camera.
Yeah.
That's another one I really liked.
So the gloinks, the random shapes that steal everything.
Rude little bastards, aren't they?
They are rude, and they did connect it with the Kaufmo plot line. Kaufmo is just destroying everything in his path, including the Queen when he just barged in like that.
He just drops the ceiling on him.
Yeah. I don't know, the character design for abstracted. I forgot what the word they used.
Yeah, abstract.
Yeah, abstracted.
Abstracted Kaufmo is an interesting one because we have Kane, who's one of his defining character visual traits is his eyeballs, and then all the abstracted ones are covered in eyeballs. The perceived earliest one being Kinger, his eyes are pretty distinct looking as well. They might just be reused models for Kang's eyes. I don't know, but there's some interesting eye connections, I suppose.
Yeah, and we have to remember all the eyes as well, where Kane can observe everything out there. When he was giving Pomni the tour, all those eyes came up behind her.
Yeah.
And evidently the moon has personality.
Yeah. The eyes could be played into 2 things for me. Is either A, again, real, they are out there and always watching, or B, they were made in that scene to threaten Pomni that there's something always watching.
True. Yeah. Could be.
Also, I couldn't remember what it was, but there's something else I don't know if we've covered or just something been around or something. When the bowling ball goes down and they're down in the queen's nest, and Jax kicks the last pin to make a spare, and the sign pops up, and he interacts with the sign. Was there something we've covered before where like that happens in something, or a background asset gets touched or something?
It's tickling something.
Like, is that like a Mel Brooks kind of joke?
Comes across as kind of a Scott Pilgrim kind of joke almost.
Is there a Scott Pilgrim thing like that?
No. No, but I feel like there is something. I've definitely seen something with it. But I don't know if it's a podcast thing.
Okay.
I think Looney Tunes Back in Action does something like that.
Maybe.
It's not abnormal for characters to interact with background things, but I think that's legitimately just something that cropped up in the game world. If it's a game world that he decided to fuck with.
Yeah. And if it becomes that knowledgeable, like if they know they can do things to create things without Kane's presence around, whether or not Kane made it to begin with, they could just do a bunch of things. Like if they needed, kindling for a fire, couldn't they just kick over a spare over and over and make a bunch of those signs to burn or something? Like,
It's possible.
I mean,
they could work
if
it
you have
that way.
bowling pins, I guess.
Again, lots of world building questions that are not answered.
Yeah. There could be other codes of such besides a spare pin that do things like that.
And like I said, we don't know how much of this is a script game. This could all just be in the game. There's no free will, like a Loki scenario. These games are already pre-scripted. These characters are already going to be doing these things.
Could be.
We don't know what it is.
And it's all because of Pomni's presence that's making them go down different routes. Or, I guess for that matter,
Pomni can be
Pomni
an
is
NPC.
one of the
Yeah.
same.
That's the mystery. What are they? How much power do they possess within this game? Do they have any at all?
Well, there is certainly power with Kaufmo and being abstractive like a virus. Because the interaction with Ragatha and then Ragatha with Pomni certainly spreads a
glitch.
glitch.
I do like that Pomni was willing to help Ragatha and then got scared with the glitch, which I think it's in character. I don't have any issues.
It's pretty
with it.
human.
Yeah, it's pretty human. It makes sure it's one of those grounding mechanisms for character stuff here. Which again, I think, despite all the abstractness and mystery stuff going on, is what you need, is to ground your audience.
Yeah, the glitch stuff was cool. I didn't understand why the environment didn't glitch.
Yeah, don't know either.
It seemed to only interact with character assets, I guess. All the gloinks got glitched when it attacked, and the characters that it attacked glitched, but none of the environment did, which is a little peculiar to me.
Yeah,
Don't know.
That might be a world building inconsistency. For now, because obviously that can be fixed retrospectively.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can live with it as a minor world building inconsistency because its interactions with the environment would be theoretically have the same effect as it would on the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously when Kang comes back, he can control that. So
yeah.
So for now, an inconsistency might not be later on.
Yeah.
Depending on how meta they decide to take the show.
That's true. I did like with nothing. Go ahead.
Well, no, you finish your thought and then I'll go.
All right. I did like with Kane the comment he made of Pomni in the void, retrieving her and saying that it's a spoiler.
Spoilers.
What the void is, it's a spoiler. Our river song. I liked it. It's more sprinkles of what is it? What is the void? How could it be a spoiler? Was Pomni seeing the user of the computer? Don't know.
A lot of don't knows. Yep. I like I caught it, a little editing budget saver possibly that they did when Pomni's looking around for Kane for help after seeing Ragatha. Everything with her red hand, the glitched out one, is hidden around a lot of stuff to not show it glitching out.
Yeah, it's usually below the frame or
behind a door.
Blocked by a wall.
Yeah.
A lot of her interactions, everything is with her blue hand.
Good job on their part, keeping it consistent for the most part. And also saving themselves the budget.
Yeah. That is, if it's got to be more detailed budget to add in all the glitches.
Oh, yeah. It absolutely is. And like the part where she looks at her own reflection while getting chased. Interesting choice. But yeah, she used her blue hand on that instead of the glitched one. Definitely.
You say interesting choice that she looked in a mirror?
While getting chased, yeah. I think it would be better isolated from the chase. But
I remember her looking into a mirror in a more isolated scene. Am I remembering it wrong?
She was getting chased by the glitch.
Okay.
And then ran past the mirror and stopped to look because that's the first time she actually saw herself in this.
Oh,
game.
you're right.
Yeah.
I if she had looked at the mirror after she loses the monster, I think it would have been fine.
I think
the
it would
fact
have been
that it was
stronger
during a
for
chase.
pause.
Yeah, the fact that it's during a chase is a bit of a problem. I like that she's stunned by her appearance, though. Like, obviously, that would be...
It's good.
Yeah.
Good addition. I like it. Just needed to be moved to after the chase.
I like that. I guess it's another just funny joke of it that I like to Keener trying to grab Zubal's head, and his arms, since they're already floating, just keep going.
There's no strength with them.
Yeah, there's no arms, right? It's very Rayman. Like they just keep floating. And then when Kafmo hits the Gloint Queen, they like rubber band back to him.
Sure. Do that.
Yeah.
I wonder how consistent they're going to go with his hands going forward.
Questions.
That's something that could damage.
Questions.
Yeah.
I quite like that Pomni goes back to Ragatha after she temporarily loses the glitch. And then it's kind of I don't know, heart-wrenching is not the right word, but there's definitely an emotional drive behind it, for the fact that Ragatha is the one that's glitching out and apologizing to Pomni that she's having a bad first day.
Yeah, that was pretty nice. That was a good one-on-one there.
Yeah.
It's being considerate, yeah.
I don't know what a good first day would be, but
yeah, we don't have a basis of what a good first day is, but I appreciate the exchange between the two characters quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think having something that's not abstract might be a good day.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the grounding mechanism for this is the characters. That's why I'm curious and want to ask all these questions, is because the characters are, they're likable for the most part. I don't think I hate any of the characters here.
The interaction with the Gloint Queen, for some reason, to me reminded me just like instances like Borderlands, like giving this whole monologue or speech of like how the world will be all like Glunk bound and everything, and then the main like Jax just goes, "Yeah, that's dumb and weird."
It also comes across as like Jax has heard all the villains that
Kane has
manifested
and made.
It's like, oh yeah, just another one in a great lineup, you know.
Crimson, another point out of you?
Sure. I am admittedly running a bit dry here. But a little detail. I don't know how much of it's intentional. I don't know. I might be reading into it. But when the group's on the escalator and Jack says, "Quiet, I can't hear the escalator," and then it jumps to Pomni in an escalating situation in the exit realm. I didn't know how intentional that was or not.
I like it.
It's
Didn't
good.
pick up on that.
I like it. It's nice. I think they definitely did that as a sort of thematic joke. Like they're winding down while her situation is escalating. So I appreciate the nice dramatic tone shifts that are happening. What is Jack's knock drama mask and Kinger down? What does he knock them down the hole with?
A bowling ball.
Oh, it's legitimately a bowling ball?
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is funny. The bowling ball misses the pins, and
they
all
hit it. Did he get that from
Cosmo's room?
Yeah, so it wasn't Cosmo's room. Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering where it came from. That makes sense.
Yeah, that was the thing he snagged out of there.
Another detail I really, really like. I like that Pomni started changing her language about the exit door when she got the hint that she might be driven insane by uh fuck me, I'm just bad with names today. Where did I put it? Kane. I like that she changed her language about the exit door that doesn't exist once Kane's not around, but she still kind of maintains the appearance of pretending it's not real. Good stuff.
Yeah. I don't know how tailored it is from Kane with the exit, but when Pomni starts losing her mind even more in the exit and laughing, she's affecting the lighting. Like the light around hers are flickering as she's laughing.
I think that part of the exit was already doing that, because I think she comes across it in an earlier bit, because it's repeating.
Okay, getting that closer to the end, it's just more disfigured.
Maybe, yeah.
Dysfunctional.
And I think it's around that part where we get a pan up and see a sign that says C and A.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the C is for Kane. Like it could be the developer of the game.
Yeah, I would have taken it to the Cain and Abel scenario. It's possible.
Biblical reference.
That is a biblical reference.
I'm trying to remember. Cain killed Abel, is it?
Yes.
So maybe Abel's just not around.
Yeah. Wonder what happened to him then.
If that's what they're going with.
Yeah, they might be, but we don't know.
Oh no.
I only have one note left, which is the Wacky Watch lower third ad. That's got to be created by Kane. Or that's one of the things like the spare sign, where the use of it is to sell off to the outside audience. Like if you found something in game, it's like, a Wacky Watch. It's like, oh, I found one. And then a lower third popped up of where you could buy your own.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I don't really know games that do that. It's not your typical microtransaction or anything like that.
It's usually always title screen.
Yeah, or a shop. It's not it's not an advertisement. So it's I don't really know what it is. I would lean more towards Kane than the game, but I don't know what it is.
Nor do I. I'm curious, from what little I have seen outside of the media of Digital Circus, like the episode, a lot of their like advertisements and stuff appear to be in universe.
Yeah. Like one's commenting, like I think the next one is like Kane's like, the YouTube video got 1 view, so we'll make a whole season.
Yeah. That's not how it works.
What did you guys think of Kane's date with Bubble? As an explanation as to where he's gone.
It's fine with it.
It's fine with what they got, but it could play off so much more. Like it could really blow into like the evil
sliding
side
down
of
a volcano.
Yeah.
No, that's not what I mean. I'm like, is this like a way to get away to have conversations with someone about what's going on around, ideas to pitch?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more to go into that. We don't know why he's there. We don't know more stuff for theory crafting. It's pretty much what it's there for.
Yeah. Is it just nonsense of just a place, or is it actually like a purpose? Like, is it a part of a lair? Like, could he snap his fingers and all the walls fall over like cardboard? And he's in a totally different place. It's like so much.
Yeah.
I think my last point is related to Jax. Was Jax too dry as far as his humor goes, or is he just the right amount?
I think he's just the right amount.
Agreed.
All right.
Just right.
Yeah. I think everything he does is off of something else. He's a reactor in commentating. He doesn't usually make a joke or remark on his own.
Yeah, if that's how he is consistently, going forward, I might have some issues with the fact that everybody just kind of takes it. But for now, I do think he's well characterized with his balanced sense of humor. Um,
Something I found a little funny, and it could just be the very anything relationship between the two characters. Kane fixes Pomni's hand and Ragatha when he comes back, but he doesn't fix Gangle's mask
Yeah. He also doesn't
because
fix
Gangle's still
Kaufman.
crying at the table. Well, no,
he doesn't.
I think
Fix, he doesn't.
anything-
He doesn't.
right.
He fixes he fixed the character glitches, but not like the character items.
Yeah, I don't know if he knows how to fully fix an abstract. That's why Kaufman's down there with a bunch of other abstracted things.
One of
Out of
the
sight, out of mind.
It could be beyond his power.
It's true. One of the more subtle details I like, and I think this is pretty much my last note, is I quite like Pomni and Ragatha's awkwardness around each other at the end because of all the trauma they endured together, I guess. They don't really know how to apologize to each other.
Yeah, I'm sure Ragatha feels a bit betrayed by leaving her to die, but even though she was happy she came back and helped, I'm sure there's still a little part of her that's like,
yeah. There's a nice awkward tension that they can play around with going forward. I'm just citing a bunch of stuff that they can work with as the writers of the show go forward, I guess. But that is it. That's all I got.
Okay.
I was gonna say the one little thing I think I love is the credits are pretty cute because that's a whole different animation look to them, and art style.
Yeah, the 2D kitty look. Yeah.
I don't know if it's chibi-esque. They don't really have that big of a head.
Yeah, I don't know what the definition of a chibi is. So, yeah, I don't have much more for the credits to say, but I got another animation thing. This was at 10 minutes 4 seconds. Her hair clips through her hand when she's combing her hair back over her ear. Minor. It's there. Caught it. Boom. There you go. I said it.
I think maybe the last thing is the only time Pomni smiles throughout the whole episode is that weird tense one, awkward one where she's looking into the camera at the end and the music's picking up. Yeah, I don't think she smiles outside of that.
Teeth. She smiles when she thinks it's a dream.
Oh, right.
And is like determined with herself.
Okay, last question.
Okay. I think that would be it for me as well.
All right. Well, with that, let's go into our ratings and summaries. Let's start with writer.
All right.
We already seemed to come out with this with some adjectives that tailored Crimson and I's thoughts of where he might lean. So let's go with him first.
Yeah. Well, I was very. I don't know if I was specific, but I came on pretty strong. Subjectively, this was. I was at like a 4 for the first 3 minutes, and then I started kind of picking up what they were putting down, and I think my subjective started rising. I'm at a 7.5 subjectively. I'm curious to see where this goes. I don't know if I'm going to watch the full series that they're going to make, but I am definitely interested to at least see its continuation for now. And I did have some fun with it. And I think the important thing for me to have fun with it is I at least got to attach to the characters going into this. Objectively, this is going to be very short, funny enough. Because it's not really much for me to go on. The plot was just very simple, driven by either the game that they were supposed to play or the mystery that they had to solve. Or it was very, very event oriented. Like they went from one thing to the next, which is fine. I don't really need a super in-depth plot. The world building, I have so many questions. So the world building is at a solid middling for me. It's gonna go right down the middle. I don't think the world building was bad. I don't think it was great.
Ooh, there's that word again.
Yeah.
Midlane.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite ones. I don't use it enough. I don't think it's. I don't think it's. The world building is amazing. I don't think it's horrible. It's right in the middle because, objectively speaking, I have no idea what to make of it right now with what little I have to work with in the first episode. There's a lot of interesting things about it that would definitely go into my subjective, but I have nothing concrete really to go off of, other than the characters. The characters are all very simple. Outside of Pomni, Jax is kind of like the humor one, likes to play pranks for his own self indulgence because maybe it helps keep him sane. That's all we really know. And I have a very. It's kind of similar with all the other characters. Ragatha seems like a kind of like the most open and caring of Pomni, which kind of hurts more of the awkwardness at the end when the fact that she's probably still hurt, but Pomni had to leave her, even though she understands why Pomni left her. It's kind of feeds into it a little bit of that they're both technically made the right decision, and things are awkward by it. Um, so Oh man, what more to say about characters? I think I could talk about Pomni for a minute. I pull up my notes because my notes closed down. Yay. Um, I think Pomni is probably. I think Pomni's the heart of the show. In that she's the opposite of Jax. Jax got a lot of the dry humor aspect covered, while Pomni is more the human, relatable character, which I think is very intentional. Got a lot of fish out of water stuff with her. Um, and because the pilot's very, very limited on everything, this is going to be my objective rating for this episode was definitely would change with more context of the universe and everything that goes around it. But I think I'm at a solid 8 objectively. There's not really much I can point out to as wrong, but there's also not really much I can point out to with terms of like the plot being like excellent or the world building being excellent. I have a lot of questions that could then shift that upwards. But I think what they nailed is the characters, and that's kind of why it's falling towards a kind of a, I guess a more of a. I think it's better than average, but I don't think it quite reaches great. So I'm 8. It just feels right to me for right now. It might drop to a 7.5 with rewatches, and then that will continue to be affected further, I guess, with the rest of the series. So,
All right. I'll go next. Save Crimson for the end. Start with my subjective. I really like it. I love the zaniness. I love the colors and the characters and the fun and the wild and the questions and the who knows what, where, who, why, what, and all that. So 8.5. I find it fun. Objectively, I found it a little difficult with just how many questions there were that I have, but nothing is given, and this is definitely an objective that later down the line would change. I don't think it could change. I think it would change. But I'm kind of treating this as with the kid in the camera, which is how much is like what we have of cemented in of how well it is. So my objective is a 9, but I can see it certainly going down with proof going forward of the rest of the show.
it's definitely a
So
wide range for this one.
yeah, but I'm at a 9 because I don't see too many things that are in here that are bad at all. There are camera work usages in animation that come across work great. The voice acting, everything's great. The animation, everyone stands out. I think it's great. What else? The editing, think it's well timed and paced and feel. I think both side A and side B of storylines work well. The hidden little storyline of C with Kane in the background, fine. I think it has just enough where you question it, but he's still purposefully still around. What have I not touched on? The dialogue, I think it's believable. You got all these people who are accepting their fate of what they're in, and Pomni's real questioning it, but no one's really going out of their way to quote unquote help. I think that's great. I don't know. Lighting, sure, lighting works well. With everything being so vibrant that the darks are really dark, of like the Glowing Queen nest is very dark, or the cellar that Kaufmo gets put in, or Kaufmo's room for that matter, just being real dark, really kind of draws in the sight of not purpose, but like what's the word I'm looking for? Draws in the attention, I guess, of a difference of the world, of something's off, or something should be a goal focus, a focused goal to be looked at. Like the Glowing Queen is kind of like the end goal maybe Kane had for collecting all the Gloinks and whatnot, and that's why it's darker down there. But the cellar and Kaufmo's room is like, they're both like, Kaufmo's door closed. Is it still pitch black? So is it like where he's been? So it's kind of like a bookend for him in this episode. I guess that's one bookend. Another bookend is like beginning a computer program, could be computer program, ending with a computer. Yeah, I think it's just tied up nicely. I think it's done well. I'm very excited to see what comes next. But what comes next could drop this all the way down to a 6.5 or lower. Who knows? Objectively. Actually, no, subjectively for the matter too. It could move. I don't know. And with that, Crimson.
Okie dokie. We'll start with my objective first this time around. It's going to be a high one because I agree with both of you. It can quite easily shift going forward because of all the open-ended questions going within this pilot. So the things that can change going forward that I think in isolation of this pilot are an issue to the pilot by itself without added context going forward would be the name thing, with them acknowledging outside existence, but not remembering their names in isolation to this pilot. I see that as a flaw. They can have an explanation going forward, which will better it, but just here, I see that as an issue. I brought up several animation errors. I pointed out techniques. Techniques aren't a bad thing, just observational. So little nicks for some of the animation stuff, but it's quite minor. Overall, the animation looks very clean and pretty professionally done. The exit door convenience, because we don't know what that is, judging it in isolation to the pilot, it is seen to me as convenience, spawning near Pomni several times
Instead of
without
spawning anywhere
explanation.
else. Yeah.
Yes. So, in isolation as a pilot, I see that as a flaw. Pomni looking at her reflection during a chase scene, not great. I like that's in here. Just move it to where it's not in a dramatic spot. And that's pretty much it. All I have for negatives regarding this. All the characters work. They're all distinct for the most part. I think Zubul. Zubul is the blandest. Not much to go off of because they were pretty much removed from the episode for the most part. But everyone else fits their roles. I did like the interaction between Ragatha and Pomni, and it helped us understand the psychology aspect of this world. If you go crazy, you can get corrupted and added to the cellar. So I think they did a good job crafting this. It makes you want a little bit more. So objectively, with the few issues I have and them being pretty minor, I'm giving it an 8.5 objectively. Could certainly go down, could go up. Who knows?
You hear that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely applicable with this one.
It's just so much unknown.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Subjectively, I want to ask what you guys think mine is first.
Oh boy. Crimson is not a fan of abstract. I know that. and a lot of things I usually pitch or come out of me of a choice in the pod are usually very middle ground of subjective for Crimson. So
With all that information.
You said for animation?
No, I said with all that information.
Oh, with all that information, I think I'm safe to say a 6, but I'm sure the answer is going to surprise me.
Okay. What do you think, Ray?
It's funny. We talked, say 2 days ago, because you wanted, I guess you asked if I saw it, and you saw the first minute of it. I think what I said to you then, and I think it still holds true. I'm gonna say, I think you're between a 6 and an 8. I'm not sure what number though.
Okay. And for added context, what Ryder said to me was he thinks I would like the concept, but he didn't know if I would like it as a whole. And the answer is a 6.5. There you go. I did find some enjoyment with it. And I'm certainly fine giving it a shot with episode 2. There is enough intrigue for that. And that's it. There you go.
Well then.
Nothing crazy. I just didn't know what the expectations were with the Springs primarily.
Yeah, I'm safe with my guess.
Yeah.
I was pretty close.
You were close.
Yeah.
Didn't know if you were expecting it super low like Owl House or anything like that. So.
Yeah, I got the range right. That's pretty much what my goal was going into that. I just wanted to get the range right. I'm like, I don't know if I can, because I don't mean this as a insult to Crimson, obviously. It's just I don't think you and I have talked enough about abstractness and storytelling specifically. We've talked about abstract art a lot, like in paintings and stuff like that, but we never really discussed like abstractness and storytelling or like
we haven't covered a lot of arty film for those to usually surface.
Yeah, I mean the closest that we got is Men, which was number 2 on the podcast list.
True.
So I'd want to get, I guess, more of your repertoire, and I could probably make more accurate guesses as we go along. But yeah, I figured you'd enjoy the concept of this. I'm kind of happy, I guess, that I got that part right, if that's what you enjoyed about it.
Yeah, the idea of the digital landscape is a good stepping stone for where they're going.
Yeah. I guess with that, gentlemen, shall I read us out?
I think so.
Yep.
Alrighty. Well, audience, thank you for listening, whether it be Spotify, Anchor, Amazon, CastBox, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Samsung, and iHeartRadio. And if you happen to be on our visual side of things, be it YouTube or Rumble, and enjoying our PNG tubers, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe everywhere. Tell us how much you hate our opinions or how much you love them. As always, I have been a Geeky Writer.
I'm Crimson Maroon.
And I'm Springs.
And we will catch you next time. Later, everybody.
Bye.
Toodaloo.